I would like to tell you about the novel The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and my presentation will contain a short summary, a character description, some themes, and some symbols in the novel. And the story starts with the main character, who's a shepherd boy named Santiago, that is sleeping near a sycamore tree in a sacristy of an abandoned church. And he has a recurring dream about a boy who tells him that if he travels to the Egyptian pyramids, he will find a hidden treasure. And the next day, when he wakes up, he meets an old woman who tells him that his dream is prophetic and he must follow its instructions. And now Santiago is very uncertain what to do because he enjoys the life of being a shepherd. And the next day, he meets a mysterious old man who introduces himself as Melchizedek, or the King of Salem, and he tells Santiago that it is a duty to pursue his personal legend, and he tells him about ohms, and he gives him two stones, which is called Urim and Tunim, that can interpret ohms. And Santiago wavers briefly, and then he sells his flock and purchasing a ticket to Tangier in the northern Africa. Um, and when he arrives there, he is robbed by a thief for all his money, and then he decides to look for a place where he can work so he can earn enough money to return home. And he finds work in a shop of a crystal merchant where he earns so much money and becomes so rich after working there 11 months. And now he's very unsure what to do because should he now return to Andalusia, a rich man where he can buy more sheep, or should he cross the Sahara in the pursuit of his hidden treasure of his dreams? The next day, he joins a caravan traveling to Egypt. And in this caravan, he meets an Englishman who wants to learn the secret of alchemy, and that is basically like turning any metal into gold. And he tells him about a famous alchemist who lives in an oasis on the way to the pyramids. And when they arrives at that oasis, Santiago meets an Arab girl named Fatima, and he instantly falls in love with her. And then the caravan leader of the caravan tells the travelers that tribal warfare is preventing them from continuing their journey. So Santiago wanders from the oasis into the desert and seeing two hawks fighting in the sky, and that gives him a vision of an army entering the oasis. And because that entering and attacking an oasis is a violation of the rules of the desert, uh, then Santiago shares his vision with the tribal chieftain, and suddenly he is confronted by a stranger with a sword sitting atop of a white horse, and that is the alchemist. And in the rest of the story, this alchemist helps him in his journey to the Egyptian pyramids. And when they arrived there, he said that Santiago must do the rest alone. And they said goodbye. And then Santiago starts digging in the ground, and he finds nothing. He don't find his treasure. And after that, he is robbed by some thieves, and then after that he is returning to Andalusia and goes back where he slept and had his dream under the sycamore tree, and then he digs there and find his treasure, and that is basically the end of the story. And if we should look at some of the characters in this The Alchemist, Santiago's the main character is a shepherd boy who comes from Andalusia and have this travel from Andalusia to the Egyptian pyramids, and he like stands for the dreamer and the seeker in all of us. And then there's this mysterious old man Melchizedek, or the King of Salem, so, who is one of the most important figures in this novel because he sort of starts this journey for Santiago. he learns. No, he said to him that it was his duty to pursue his personal legend. And then there's the Alchemist, who is the novel's title character, and he sort of stands for the spirituality in this novel. He can turn any metal into gold, and he helps Santiago get from the oasis to the Egyptian pyramids. And then at last there's Fatima, who is this Arab girl who Santiago instantly falls in love with, and she represents like truly true love, I would say, unconditionally. Um, and when we look at some themes in this novel, I would say that fate is one of them. It's your fate to sort of pursue your personal legend, that you can change your fate. And another theme in this novel is love, and that is shown in the love between Fatima and Santiago in this novel. Um, and if we look at some symbols, on the way to the Egyptian pyramids, Santiago meets of lots of things, animals and landscapes and all of that. And one, the desert symbolize what all the hardship that stands between people and their dreams. And the gold that the alchemist can make of any metal is like stands for the time that is necessary to achieve something that you desire. Um, and the oasis sort of symbolize life and love. It's like a dot placed in the middle of the vast Sahara. It's like a green dot where life and love comes from. And the shepherds and his sheep like represent the alternative for pursuing your personal legend. If Santiago don't want to follow his dreams and look for this hidden treasure, he could travel back to Andalusia and be a shepherd again. So that's sort of the alternative in this novel. Um, and then the sycamore tree uh, sort of represent Egypt, because a sycamore tree originally comes from Egypt. And that was pretty much it, I would say. So thank you for listening.